Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with some more War Thunder Ground Forces. And today I'm bringing you some simulator battle footage from a few days ago featuring the Panther Ausf D. This is one of those tanks that I enjoy playing mostly because of the main gun. That 75mm got a high muzzle velocity, so it can definitely reach out and touch someone. And if you know what you're shooting at, if you know where to aim on a tank, you can generally eliminate somebody in a shot or two, and the reload time is decent. But even better is when you have two of them. In this video, I've got Bombadil with me. He's back there somewhere, covering the 6. Actually, at this point, I think I'm telling him to watch the front and left while I look right, because I'm wanting to pass this area here, and I just don't want to get shot in the side. Your armor on the side of the Panther, not amazing. And you've got a lot of ammunition stored there, so one good hit will take you out, even from lower calibers. Now, we don't usually travel on this side of the map, but I wanted to do something a little bit different and avoid the main fields of fire. As you can see here, we're about to come across a target, and I just don't have proper gun depression here. So I'm trying to adjust the hull of my tank and get the shot in. Barrel's wanting to drop on me a little bit. Elevation. And right through that driver port. That tank is done. So notice how I pull back to reload. Getting in cover to reload, not staying out in the open. This is going to allow Bombadil to pop up a little bit with a round ready to fire if need be. So he'll take my place. The downside to that, of course, is that we don't have anybody covering the road anymore, which is why I'm starting to think about just moving down that way and covering it myself. This is where having a third or fourth tank would come in handy, because you can have some guys on Overwatch or defense, while the other two are focus firing on targets or perhaps keeping an eye out on the main battlefield. But in this case, I say, alright, let's roll out. He didn't have any targets to shoot at there, so it's time to move. And looking at the minimap, you can see, in a way, you're trying to create a line on the map with tanks. And so we're this part of the line over here. It's our job to protect this side or to assault this side of the map and make sure that nothing creeps in through the base and maybe even gets to the objective point. Keep in mind that a large part of warfare, whether it's real or in a video game, is movement. It's not just about pulling the trigger. It's very important that you have good accuracy, of course, but you need to know how to move. You need to know how to utilize cover, how to position and angle your tank, how to cover your friends. On top of that, communication, also a big part of the game. When we're playing here, there's a lot of talk back and forth about what we're doing, what our status is. Are we repairing? Are we reloading? How many targets do we have? Where are those targets? We want to be very descriptive. By the giant rock, there's 3 trees, 400 meters. You know, you want to let him know so that if he can come out and get a shot, he knows exactly where to look without even really thinking about it. And if you think that that's too complicated, then just at least call out your targets in the direction. Contact front, left, right, 6, whatever you want to say. Make sure that your friends know where the enemy is at. I know you want points. I know you think you can kill everything yourself, but it is more important that you guys get the win. Work together, eliminate the enemy as soon as possible, and don't be selfish. Patience paying off once again. Target front. And dead, of course, all the time that's happening. Communicating to Bombadil what I've got rolling up on us. Letting him know location. Letting him know vehicle type. And, of course, I take him out in one shot, so he's not necessary, but you can actually hear his tank, you know, to the left, ready for that shot. So if it was a larger vehicle, or maybe if I had missed, he's there ready to take his shot. And I'll be honest, I'm not a great judge of distances in real life or in video games, so sometimes it's hard for me to figure out how much I need to elevate my gun. But I am learning, getting a little bit better at it. And I think that the only other thing that makes it difficult is the fact that each tank has a different type of gun, and so velocities are going to differ quite a bit. But as long as you figure out, you know, distances in meters, you should be okay with the current sighting system. Here, back to the gameplay, we are doing some bounding Overwatch, which means one tank covers, the other tank moves up. Once that guy's at cover, then you move up. He's covering you, so on and so forth. Obviously, this is better done with a few more tanks. That way you maybe have 2 people providing cover, 2 people moving up. You know, again, 2 guns on target, better than 1. But now he is in a position where he can cover me. He's telling me, go ahead, move up. I've got you covered. And we proceed in such a way that if something does pop out, we should be okay, as long as we can hit that target or distract it long enough. Now, thankfully, the rest of the team is just doing their job on the offensive, taking the alpha point while we clean up on this flank. Moving past Bombadil here, I'm saying to them, okay, let's move because we're getting left behind. We want to be able to cover our friendlies just in case they've got some units left over on this side of the map. And so I'm just saying, let's go full speed and just keep your eye out right. I'll look a little bit to the left. We're both going to have an eye on the center, but we're going to focus a little bit on each side. So just in case something's hiding in a bush somewhere. Again, in simulator battles, unfortunately, you have this mini-map that does give away positions. It's supposed to act as your commander sighting targets, but obviously in many cases it sees targets no matter what. So let's say you had a tank in deep wooded camouflage. It doesn't matter. You're going to be spotted and it's going to show up on the minimap. So it's something that needs to change. I'd rather they get rid of minimap spotting completely in its current form at least. I don't mind if there's some sort of radio communication letting somebody know what's going on, but the way it is now, needs to stop. And speaking of stopping, target front, this is why you don't race around a corner, because you might have a gigantic tank destroyer waiting for you. That looked like some sort of SU or ISU 122. I'm telling Bombadil, back off, no shooting, run, 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 reverse, because this guy's looking at us. He's in a fixed position, meaning that he doesn't have to try to acquire us. He just has to sit there and wait till we move up. And I'm like, look, we're done. This is not happening. We're not going to move. So we just wait for something to happen. And it's hard to tell. You think like, okay, I can't see him, so that means he can't see me. Not always the case. He's a little bit elevated there, I think, in that position. So the only thing we can do is, of course, relay coordinates to the rest of the team and hope that they can flank around. Now, here you might be wondering what I'm doing. I'm actually backing up in hopes that that person will get aggressive. I'm asking Bombadil, is there another way out of here? Is there somewhere we can go to maybe get around them? We could have probably climbed up this hill to the right a little bit, maybe, and tried to get an angle. But you see here, somebody's doing some peekaboo. Looks like another one of those ZSU 37s, I think. Not really a huge threat to us, but I had a bit of a psychological play going on here. Now, we could have switched to high explosive rounds and maybe hit just a piece of that frontal armor there, hoping that the HE would explode and perhaps melt the faces of the crew. The thing was, even though we could have killed this guy, even though we could have charged him or shot him, HE, whatever, I actually wanted to keep him in the fight for a little bit, mostly because he's got the ISU 122 behind him. And the 122 is thinking, that's my reconnaissance vehicle. So if something happens to him, I'm going to know I need to be ready. So we reported the grid location to our friendlies. They're on the way, you can see on the minimap. I wanted the 122 to be facing this direction, so therefore we didn't kill this guy. We just waited here. Now, if he'd have charged us, we would have killed him, of course. But since he sat back there, we didn't try to take a shot. We didn't switch to HE. We just let things play out. Let the friendlies come in from behind to engage the 122 safely from the 6 o'clock position. Then, after he's eliminated, we begin to move, which looks like is going to be around now. You can see on the mini-map, friendly forces moving in. Boom. 122 is down. We start to make our movement. This guy probably freaking out a little bit. Shot there. You can see the crew. Done. And this was just a textbook maneuver here. Seeing the friendlies come around the corner also. Just a lovely sight. That is what I call the perfect pinch, and love seeing its execution at least once in a while. But Got some stats here for you, and unfortunately this was one of those games where Bombadil didn't get to see much of the action. I spent a lot of the time on point. You can of course switch it up per match and maybe get different results, but there were a couple of times where he was the one in front, especially when we did that bound, but just no targets wanting to show up and deal with these Panthers. So honestly, guys, you know, the score to me doesn't really matter that much. There are things that you can't account for. I'm not a huge fan of games with progression systems and unlocks. I just like games that reward teamwork. I'm out for the victory. You know, if you provide cover, if you follow orders, if you are a spotter, you know, if you're providing some sort of benefit to your team and you're not getting points for it, it's unfortunate in regards to, you know, earning credits and experience to unlock things. But to me, that's still worth something. I would rather have a team player than a stat whore or a credits hog, you know? I don't want that on my team. I want somebody who wants to win as a group, regardless of the score. If your main concern is first place all the time and you're selfish, if you're trying to hold on to targets just to get the most out of it, if you're whining about kill stealing and you're not joking about it, then you're not somebody I want to play with, okay? That's not what I'm looking for in a video game. So don't let anybody tell you you're bad at a game, because if you survive based on your movement skills, especially in the air, it's all about maneuvers. And if you fly well enough to make somebody crash or to make somebody second guess or lure them into somebody else's fire, then you're a great pilot too. If you're alive at that end of that match, Ram JB, Bismarck used to always tell me, if you survived that match, if you helped, if you contributed somehow, even if you didn't get all the kills, all the damage, then you still did your part. And that's what a lot of video games are about, not just this one. But you have to get into that state of mind. And it's very difficult for a lot of people, because I think most humans are inherently stubborn and selfish, and I think that you got to grow past that. Not just in video games, but in reality. Once you do that, you can then become a better gamer as well. And so that's why when I play this game, I'm looking for teamwork. I'm looking for people to stick together. And yes, follow orders. I'm not talking about having an in-game dictatorship, but it is nice if somebody's in charge. Otherwise, you have chaos, and, well, that doesn't usually work out very well. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that you've enjoyed today's look at War Thunder Ground Forces. Gonna have a whole lot more for you, and those Americans, they're coming up. I'm hoping we see something in December. I don't know. There's no release date for 1.45, but I will be on top of it. I do know quite a bit about American armor and the tactics that they used within World War II, so hopefully I can put that to good use. I know that the Americans are probably going to get spammed a whole lot, but let's face it, it's new content. You know how people are with new stuff, so there is that. Anyways, again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining me. I will definitely see you on the next one.